you haven't heard these clips, she is the one who was on the steps of the Capitol. She has been in favor of defunding the police. On July 4th, she said America was an awful, racist country. You need to hear this. This is an interview with CBS News. Here is Congresswoman Cori Bush.
And we're also talking about the same exact people who say horrible things about me, who lie to get to build up their base. And then because they lie about me, I receive death threats. Now, they don't address the fact that I receive death threats after they go on air and say horrible things about me. But then they want to say, oh, but she needs private security. I have private security because my body is worth being on this planet right now. I have private security because the white supremacist, racist narrative that they drive into this country, the fact that they don't care that this black woman that has put her life on the line, they can't match my energy, first of all. This black woman who's put her life on the line, they don't care that I could be taken out of here. They actually probably are okay with that.
I think I want my body to stay on this earth too.
Yeah, I think everybody's in favor of their body on the earth.
I can understand that part of it for sure. Clay, here's the issue with Cori, but at a number of levels, there are questions that this raises. One is, so there are still people, because Democrats will pretend like this is not the case. There are still elected officials who say that they mean defund the police. It's not some slogan that they use to get attention or anything else. They actually mean defund the police, and they cling to that, even though we've had now over a year of real numbers in every major American city showing that when you not only defund police as a matter of finances, but you refuse to continue to give law enforcement the backing they need to do their jobs appropriately, when law enforcement feels like at any point in time they could risk their careers, perhaps even their freedom, for having to make a difficult but good faith decision, it results in very bad things happening, more murders, more shootings, more violent crime in major cities. But then also this idea that Cori Bush is special because she says she's under so much threat. I think that a very small percentage of the country knows who Congresswoman Cori Bush is.
Minuscule. How many white supremacists? Like, let's pretend that this is the boogeyman, right? Let's pretend. This reminds me a little bit of Jussie Smollett, right? And to your credit and my credit, we were some of the people who said, come on, this doesn't pass the smell test, right? Like, nobody knows.
I did a podcast titled Jussie Smollett is Lying before the footage came out of the two guys buying the rope and the stuff in the store. So, yeah.
Yeah, you were on the very front edge of this is stupid. Like, even when this story happened, I remember turning to my wife and saying, no white supremacists sit around and watch Empire, first of all. Let's start here. Second, if they do watch Empire, they certainly don't know who Jussie Smollett is, and they certainly don't know that he's racist. Like, all of these things. Cori Bush, let me be clear about this. If you are one of these people who's running around on social media making death threats or threatening violence, I do think you should be prosecuted, because we have to set the precedent that online life should be treated in some way similarly to real life. Like, you can't just walk. It is illegal.
It is illegal to threaten to kill somebody, and it should be, by the way.
And you should be prosecuted.
I mean, I even also always say that anybody who wishes harm on someone they've never met, who really do, in any capacity, people that celebrate when someone dies or when someone they disagree with gets cancer, to me, it's a sign of a deep, not only moral failing, but emotional and psychological instability. Like, I actually worry about the fitness to handle day-to-day life of anybody who goes, this politician or this pundit or whatever just died or has cancer or had a heart attack, so I'm going to celebrate that online. Those people, they're sick in the head.
And you should be prosecuted if you threaten to kill someone. But there is a difference between random losers on Twitter or wherever sending a message and someone actually putting you in danger such that you need to have a security detail.
I mean, she referred to attempts on her life, by the way, which, I mean, that's a very specific thing. I mean, that's someone actually I am not aware of that having happened. If that has happened, we should know about it. That would be a major news story because it would be an attempt on the life of a federal official, a member of Congress. We should know. But, Clay, I think we all know what's really going on here, which is that she's coming up with some story to try to make it seem like what's not happening here is, and it is what is happening, is you have another person who wants to make sure they feel safe with resources put around them, men with guns and women, to protect them, while the rest of American society in poor neighborhoods that have higher crime rates are supposed to say, yeah, but this is all for the cause. You know, we're all suffering the crime. By the way, you look at minority communities in cities like Detroit, specifically when they're polled, and they completely reject this crap. This is top down from the elites. No matter what, ethnicity you come from, you want your family, your communities to be safe. It's this mentality of the elites and the activists that somehow dispenses with this because it makes them feel good when they go on TV. It's virtue signaling.
You want more cops. You want more cops if you are a minority living in an inner city neighborhood. That's what all the numbers reflect. Now, so that was Cori Bush talking about how, again, the unbelievable quote, I have private security because my body is worth being on this planet right now. Ostensibly, what she's saying is other people's bodies are not because they can't afford their own private security.
I think your body is worth being on this planet.
Well, thank you. I feel the same. I feel the same about you and most of our listeners, maybe even all of them. Let's go in. Here she is. Furthermore, saying, well, yes, we need to defund the police, but she needs private security because would she rather they die?
And defunding the police has to happen. We need to defund the police and put that money into social safety nets because we're trying to save lives. What other occupation can do work that's out of their scope and still be propped up to do work that's out of their scope? As a nurse, I can't be the surgeon too. You don't want me being your surgeon and I'm the nurse. At what point do we pay police to be social workers? No, we don't. How do they get to be social workers? So what I'm saying is you do your job. Let the people who have gone to school with a particular skill set do theirs. Neither defunding the police and being able to have security because those same folks are causing it. It's two totally different things.
If I'm going to take her analogy and play it out a little bit, which, yeah. And by the way, Nancy Pelosi heaping praise upon Cori Bush being a hero for her protest, sleeping out on the steps of the Capitol, all over social media, MSNBC. Oh, my gosh, Cori Bush is amazing. What she's actually advocating for, if we're going to take her, I'm a nurse, I'm not the surgeon. Okay, fair enough. The people that want to defund the police are saying, they're walking to the hospital and they're saying, sometimes surgeons, Clay, make mistakes and they cut where they shouldn't and somebody could bleed out on the table. So let's fire all the surgeons and let the nurses handle whatever comes afterwards. That's what defund the police would actually be. But if we're going to take her analogy to its logical conclusion, we can see how illogical and absurd the whole thing is. But I think it's important we all know this has not been abandoned.
It's not. They have not repudiated
this.
Do it by itself. And first of all, she is I don't know what percentage of Congressmen and women are truly idiots. I'm very confident that
more
Cori
than zero
Bush is truly, it's more than zero. And by the way, Democrats and Republicans, right? There are dumb people on both parties. Cori Bush is like that analogy, Buck. You're even being, I think, too generous to her. That would be like not letting the nurse, because at least a nurse has some training in how to respond to, let's say, a gunshot wound. It would be like, hey, hospitals made mistakes. Let's eliminate all the hospitals and everybody just go to a random house when you need a doctor and let whoever's there treat you. They'll do as good of a job, right? I mean, because that's when you defund the police, you're trying to sweep them all off the streets and do away with them completely. We still have another cut from her that is even dumber. I'm telling you, you're going to be blown away by what else she said. This is all one interview.